I knew who he was the moment I looked at him. Cold, strategic, dangerous. And I stepped forward anyway. I see him before anyone says his name. Not because he stands out, because he doesn't. That's the first red flag. In rooms like this, power usually makes noise. Laughter too loud. Watches too expensive. Voices that rise just enough to demand attention. He doesn't demand anything. He waits. The fundraiser is already suffocating by the time we arrive. Gold light, glass chandeliers, silk dresses, and tailored suits arranged like a display of wealth disguised as generosity. Neutral territory. Public goodwill. Private calculation. Sophia slips her arm through mine as we step inside. Smile, she murmurs. We look like we're attending a funeral. We might be, I reply lightly. Natalie laughs behind us. You're dramatic. Elena scans the room automatically, eyes sharp, assessing exits and clusters of influence before she even reaches for a drink. We move together. Always together. That's the rule we never wrote down. I'm halfway through greeting a donor when I feel it. Not eyes. Pressure. Like someone has tilted the room half a degree and only I noticed. I excuse myself and turn slowly. And there he is. Dark suit. Black tie. Perfectly still. Not near the center of the room. Not hiding either. Just positioned slightly outside the natural flow of traffic, where he can observe without being approached unless he allows it. Leo Marchesi. I know before someone confirms it. He looks like someone who enjoys watching people choose their own destruction. Our eyes meet. He doesn't look away. He doesn't smile. He just registers me. And that is infinitely worse. Claire. Elena's voice is low. Warning. I don't blink. Yes? Don't. I drag my gaze back to her, annoyed. Don't what? Sophia answers instead. Engage. Engage how? I ask coolly. I'm standing. Natalie shifts closer, following my line of sight. Oh, she breathes softly. There's no excitement in it, just recognition. That's him, Sophia says quietly. I assumed, I reply. Then don't, Elena repeats. It's almost funny. The way 3 grown women think I'm about to trip over my own curiosity. I'm not reckless, I say. No, Sophia agrees. That's what makes this worse. He moves eventually, of course he does. But not toward us directly. He circulates. Slow. Controlled. A handshake here. A brief exchange there. Every interaction efficient. Never indulgent. He doesn't flirt with women. He doesn't posture with men. He listens. And when he speaks, people adjust. That's what I notice. They adjust. Not out of fear. Out of calculation. He doesn't intimidate. He repositions. You're staring, Natalie whispers. I'm observing. Same thing, she says. It isn't, I reply. Because it isn't. Staring is reactive. Observing is strategic. And I refuse to let him think I'm reactive. When he finally approaches, it feels intentional in a way that makes my skin tighten. He doesn't interrupt. He waits until there's a natural lull in our conversation. Then, Brooks, my last name. Low, smooth, almost polite. I turn slowly. Yes? Up close, he's worse. Not handsome in an obvious way. Sharp. Controlled. Eyes too calm. Like he's already predicted the end of every conversation he enters. I didn't expect to see you here, he says. That's interesting, I reply evenly. Considering it's a public event. A flicker at the corner of his mouth. Amusement. I meant, he clarifies, that you tend to avoid rooms where the outcome is already decided. Sophia stiffens beside me. Natalie goes quiet. Elena's posture shifts just slightly forward. He sees all of it. Registers it. Files it away. I avoid rooms that waste my time, I correct. And yet, he says, glancing around, here you are. Curiosity, I reply. About? He asks, You? I don't know why I say it. I just refuse to pretend. Something sharp passes through his gaze. Approval. That makes my pulse jump harder than insult would have. You've been warned, he says calmly. By whom? Everyone. He's not wrong. That doesn't answer my question, I reply. No, he agrees. It doesn't. Elena steps in. This conversation isn't productive. Leo shifts his attention to her, slow and assessing. It isn't meant to be, he says, then back to me. You're loyal, he continues. I respect that. That sounds like a prelude, I say. It is. My stomach tightens. Loyalty is admirable, he says, until it blinds you. And what do you think I'm blind to? I ask. That you're not as immune as you think you are. Sophia grips my wrist lightly. Claire, she murmurs. But I don't look at her. Because if I do, I'll break eye contact, and I don't want to give him that satisfaction. Immune to what? I ask. To wanting the wrong thing, he replies. The air between us goes still. He doesn't touch me. Doesn't lean closer. Doesn't change his tone. He just says it like a fact. And I hate that something in my chest answers. You overestimate your importance, I say. He smiles then. Not warm, not cruel, knowing. I rarely do. Natalie exhales sharply. Okay, that's enough. She steps between us slightly, and for a split second, irritation flashes through me. Not at him. At her. That's the first crack. Relax, Leo says lightly. I'm not stealing her. He looks directly at me when he says it. Not yet. Elena's voice hardens. You don't get to joke about that. I'm not joking, he replies calmly. That should scare me. Instead, it makes my spine straighten. Why me? I ask suddenly. The girls all go still. Leo studies me carefully. You're the one who thinks she can handle it, he says. Handle what? Me? There it is. No romance, no charm, just challenge. You're not a test, I say. Everything is a test, he replies. The only variable is who's grading. I don't need your approval, I say. Good, he answers, because you won't get it. And somehow that lands like invitation. Sophia steps fully between us now. That's enough, she says, quietly, not loud, not dramatic, just firm. Leo's gaze shifts to her again. You're protective, he observes. Yes. Smart, he replies. Then he looks back at me one last time. This isn't personal, he says. It feels personal, I reply. That's because you want it to, he answers. And then he walks away. Just like that. No lingering. No backward glance. No attempt to secure the interaction. Like he already knows the damage is done. The room feels louder after he leaves. Or maybe it's just my pulse. Natalie turns to me immediately. You cannot, she says. I didn't, I reply. You will, she counters. Elena's jaw is tight. He destabilizes systems. That's what he does. I'm not a system, I snap. Sophia watches me quietly. You're already thinking about him, she says. It's not an accusation. It's worse. It's accurate. I'm not stupid, I say. No, Elena replies. That's what makes this dangerous. They keep saying that. Dangerous, like it's a warning, like it's not exactly the point. The rest of the evening passes in fragments. I feel him without seeing him, hear him without listening, notice when he leaves without watching. And when we finally step outside into the cool night air, I exhale like I've been underwater. Natalie squeezes my hand. We mean it. I know, Elena adds. He doesn't want you. He wants access. To what? I ask. Sophia answers softly. To the part of you that thinks you're different. That one hits. Because I do think that. Later, alone in my apartment, heels discarded, dress pooled at my feet, I stand in front of the mirror and stare at my reflection. I replay every word, every glance, Every calculated pause. He didn't flirt. He didn't chase. He didn't promise. He just saw me. And implied I wasn't immune. That's the part that unsettles me most. Not that he's dangerous, but that I want to prove I'm not afraid of him, and I don't know yet whether that's strength or the first mistake. I tell myself I'm not thinking about him. That's the first lie. It's subtle, harmless, almost elegant in the way it slips into my thoughts and rearranges them without asking permission. I'm not obsessing. I'm not fantasizing. I'm not curious. I'm just evaluating. That's what I tell myself when I wake up the next morning and check the event coverage online to see who was photographed and who wasn't. He wasn't. Of course he wasn't. Men like Leo Marchesi don't appear in curated images. They exist in the margins, which is exactly where I find myself looking. We meet for brunch the next day. Sophia's idea. Neutral ground. Bright sunlight and loud espresso machines and polished wooden tables that make everything feel less dangerous than it is. Natalie is already there when I arrive, waving too enthusiastically like she's trying to anchor something fragile in place. Elena sits straight-backed, composed, phone face down, on the table. Sophia watches me when I sit down. Not accusing, assessing. "How are you?" she asks. "Fine." The word lands too, quickly. Natalie doesn't notice. Elena does. Sophia definitely does. "You left early last night," Elena says. "So did you," I reply. "Not the same thing." I arch an eyebrow. "You think I left because of him?" "You stayed because of him." Sophia corrects gently. "That's not entirely true. I stayed because I didn't want to look like I was retreating. That's different. Isn't it?" "He's irrelevant," I say, picking up my coffee. "Claire?" Natalie says softly. "What?" I snap, sharper than I intend. She blinks. "I just don't want you playing with something you don't understand." I laugh lightly. "You make him sound mythic." "He isn't mythic," Elena says. "He's methodical." That word sticks. Methodical. "Yes," Sophia adds. "He doesn't react. He studies." "And?" I challenge. "And you like that?" She replies. The silence that follows is uncomfortable, because she's not wrong. "I don't like him," I say carefully. Natalie leans forward. "You don't have to like him to be pulled toward him." I'm not pulled. I insist. Elena's voice is calm, measured. "You're defensive." I'm irritated, I correct. "Same thing," Sophia murmurs. I stare at my coffee like it personally offended me. "They're overreacting. That's what this is." He said a few calculated things, I responded. End of story. Except it doesn't feel like the end, it feels like a beginning. And that unsettles me more than any warning they could give. The next time I see Leo, it isn't planned. That's the second lie. It's at a strategy meeting 2 nights later. Smaller room. Fewer observers. Less spectacle. He's already seated when I walk in. Not at the head of the table. But not at the edge either. Center adjacent. Exactly where he can influence without appearing to lead. He looks up as I enter. No surprise. No greeting. Just recognition. I hate how aware I am of it. Sophia sits beside me. Elena across. Natalie further down. The positioning feels intentional, even if no one says it out loud. He doesn't speak for the first 15 minutes. He listens. And every time someone else proposes a solution, he tilts his head slightly, as if mentally testing it for weakness. When he finally does speak, it's quiet. "We're approaching this emotionally," he says. "That's inefficient." No aggression, no volume. Just assessment. The room shifts. People adjust. Again. "You're suggesting what?" someone asks. "I'm suggesting we stop pretending loyalty is a strategy," he replies smoothly. "It's a vulnerability." The word lands like a stone dropped into water. I feel Sophia stiffen beside me. Elena's jaw tightens. Natalie's eyes flick toward me. And he sees all of it, registers it, files it away. That's cynical. I say evenly. He turns to me, not surprised I spoke, almost expecting it. No, he replies. It's accurate. Not everyone operates from betrayal, I counter. Everyone does, he says. The only difference is timing. My pulse spikes. That's projection, I tell him. It's experience, he corrects. And there it is again. Not charm. Not heat. Truth delivered like a blade. The meeting ends without resolution, which feels intentional. As we gather our things, I feel it again. That pressure in the room that only exists when he's close. He doesn't approach me. He waits. That's his strategy. Make me move first. I don't. Not immediately. But I don't leave either. Claire? Elena says quietly as we step into the hallway. Don't, I mutter. You're doing it again. Doing what? Lingering. I have questions? You always have questions, Sophia says. You don't always chase answers. That word lands harder than it should. Chase. I don't chase. I evaluate. I analyze. I dissect. I do not chase. Natalie touches my arm gently. We trust you, she says. It's meant to reassure. It feels like pressure. I'm not breaking anything, I reply. No one said you were, Sophia says softly. But we all hear what isn't spoken. Yet. I see him alone near the exit, phone in hand, not texting, not scrolling, just standing there like he owns the quiet. I should leave. I know I should. Instead, I walk toward him. You think loyalty is weakness? I say without preamble. He doesn't look surprised. I think it's exploitable, he replies. By you? By anyone paying attention. And you are. Yes. He doesn't deny anything. He never denies anything. You're dangerous, I say. Obviously. The ease of it makes my stomach flip. And you enjoy that? No, he says calmly. I enjoy clarity. About what? About who people really are. And who am I? I ask. He studies me for a long moment. You're the one who thinks she can step close to a flame without burning, he says. I'm not afraid of you. I know. And that bothers you. No, he replies. It interests me. That word again. Interest. Like I'm a case study. Or a challenge. Or both. You think you're manipulating me, I say. He tilts his head slightly. I think you're choosing to stand here, he replies. I don't have an answer for that. Because he's right. I am choosing. Your friends are worried, he adds casually. My spine stiffens. You don't get to mention them. I didn't, he says. You did. I hate how easily he flips it. They're protective, I say. They should be. You don't get to threaten that. I didn't, he repeats. I observed. And what are you observing now? That you're already justifying this conversation. The truth of it hits like a slap. This isn't betrayal, I say quietly. I never used that word, he replies. But you're thinking it. I'm thinking, he says, that you don't break things loudly, you erode them. My chest tightens. That's not who I am. It might be, he says calmly. You just haven't had the right incentive. The audacity, the arrogance, the terrifying possibility. You want access? I say. To what? He asks. To me. He steps closer, not touching, not crowding, just enough to shift the air between us. Yes, he says simply. The honesty knocks the breath from my lungs. No games? No. No pretending this is harmless? No. And what happens when you get what you want? He looks at me steadily. I don't keep things I can't respect, he says. That shouldn't sound like a promise. It does. I step back first. Not because I'm afraid. Because I'm aware. This ends badly, I say. Yes, he agrees. And you don't care. I care very much, he replies. Just not about the same things you do. That's the most honest thing he's said yet. When I rejoin the girls, they all look at me the same way. Not angry, not disappointed, concerned. How long? Elena asks quietly. 5 minutes, I reply. Sophia studies my face. It felt longer. It did. Natalie exhales. Claire, I'm not doing anything, I say. Not yet, Sophia whispers, and that's the part that stays with me. Not yet. That night, I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every word. He doesn't seduce. He destabilizes. He doesn't flatter. He identifies weakness and names it calmly. And the worst part? I don't feel manipulated. I feel seen, which might be worse. Because if I walk into this with my eyes open, if I choose it, then I can't call it an accident. And I'm starting to understand something I don't want to admit. I don't want him because he's safe. I want him because he isn't. And that means the girls aren't wrong. They're just early. The first betrayal doesn't feel like betrayal. That's the problem. It feels like curiosity, like harmless conversation, like proving I'm not fragile. It happens on a Tuesday. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just a gray afternoon wrapped in low clouds and muted traffic. Sophia and I are reviewing shipment projections at her office, spreadsheets glowing between us. You're distracted, she says without looking up. I'm multitasking. You're spiraling, she corrects calmly. I glare at her. About what? She finally meets my eyes. You tell me? I don't. Because if I say his name out loud, it becomes something. And I'm not ready for that. By evening, I convince myself I need clarity. That's the excuse. He said loyalty is exploitable. Fine. I want to know how. Not because I care what he thinks. Because I want to dismantle it. That's what I tell myself when I text him. We need to finish that conversation. The reply comes 5 minutes later. Do we? My jaw tightens. Yes. A pause. Then, location? He doesn't suggest one. He makes me choose. I send an address. Neutral cafe. Public. Safe. See? I'm not reckless. He's already there when I arrive. Of course he is. Back, corner table. Espresso untouched. Jacket folded neatly over the chair beside him. Not relaxed. Not tense. Waiting. You came, he says. You expected me to. Yes. I sit across from him, keeping the table between us like it matters. I'm not here for whatever you think this is, I say. He tilts his head slightly. I don't think this is anything, he replies. Yet, I want to understand your position, I say. My position on what? Loyalty. A flicker of amusement. You came for philosophy? I came because you implied something about me, I correct. And you don't like unfinished implications. No. Good, he says. That word. I hate that word when it leaves his mouth. Explain it, I say. He leans back slightly, studying me like I've just handed him a chessboard. Loyalty, he says slowly, creates blind spots. Or stability, I counter. Stability is an illusion, he replies. Control is not. You're not in control of everything. No, he agrees. Just the variables I anticipate. And you think you anticipate me? I think you're predictable in one specific way. Which is? You want to prove you're immune. My pulse ticks faster. I don't care enough to prove anything. That's not true, he says gently. You care very much. I shift in my seat. This isn't about me, I insist. It always is, he replies. Stop doing that. Doing what? Turning everything into analysis. He studies my irritation with open interest. You came to be analyzed, he says. No, I snap. You came because you didn't like that I saw something you weren't ready to admit. The air between us tightens. What do you want from me? I ask. There it is, the real question. He doesn't hesitate. Access. To what? To your honesty. I laugh sharply. You think I'm dishonest? I think you lie to yourself before you lie. To anyone else. That one lands. Hard. I don't betray my friends, I say. I didn't say you did. You implied it. I implied you're capable of erosion, he replies calmly. I'm not. Not yet. The repetition makes my stomach twist. The conversation shifts. Not into flirting, into something worse. Specifics. He asks about logistics, about decision-making patterns, about how often I defer versus override. All framed as curiosity. All landing too close to truth. You're asking operational questions, I say carefully. I'm asking about behavior. Behavior shapes operations. Yes, he agrees. Now you're thinking clearly. There it is again. Approval. It shouldn't matter. It does. I answer more than I should. Not classified details, not secrets, just patterns, structure, dynamics. And every time I do, he nods slightly, like he's filing something away. Halfway through, I realize what I'm doing. And I don't stop. I need to pause here, because this was the first moment I understood I was giving him something. Not information. Not exactly. Perspective. Access. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself I was still in control. I wasn't. And the worst part? I knew it. Why are you really here? He asks softly. To dismantle your argument, I reply. And it's more complicated than I expected, he smiles faintly. Complicated is where truth hides. You enjoy this, I say. Yes. At least you're honest. I always am. No, I correct. You're selective. He leans forward slightly. And you're tempted. My breath catches. Tempted by what? By someone who doesn't pretend to be safe. The cafe noise fades around us. Or maybe I stop hearing it. You're not safe, I say. I never claimed to be. And you don't care what this costs me. He studies me for a long moment. I care exactly enough, he says. That's vague. It's intentional. My phone buzzes. Sophia. I let it ring once, twice. Leo watches me without speaking. I silence it. That's your mistake, he says quietly. What is? Believing you can compartmentalize. I can. You won't. I stand abruptly. This was a waste of time. No, he replies calmly. It wasn't. For you, I say. For either of us. I hesitate. That's the crack. He sees it. You want to know the real risk, he says as I gather my bag. I already know it. No, he replies. You think the risk is losing them. My heart pounds harder. That's not the risk? The risk, he says, standing slowly, is that you won't want to go back. The words land heavy. Because part of me understands exactly what he means. Outside, the air feels colder than it should. My phone buzzes again. Sophia. This time, I answer. Hey. You disappeared, she says quietly. I stepped out. With him. It's not a question. Yes. A pause. How much? She asks. I look back through the cafe window. Leo is still standing inside, watching. Nothing important, I say. That's the second betrayal. The lie. And it comes easier than I expected. When I meet the girls later that night, they're all there. Sophia quiet. Natalie anxious. Elena composed but sharp. You went alone, Elena says. Yes. Why? Natalie asks softly. I wanted to understand him. And? Sophia presses. He's exactly what we thought. That's not what I asked, she says. I hold her gaze. I can handle him. Elena exhales slowly. That's not the point. Then what is? I demand. The point, Sophia says gently, is that you didn't tell us first. The truth of that stings more than accusation would. I didn't think I needed permission, I reply. It's not permission, Natalie says. It's protection. I don't need protection. Silence falls. Heavy. Uncomfortable. Elena finally speaks. He doesn't want you, she says quietly. He wants the version of you that thinks she's immune. I swallow hard. Too late. That night, alone in my apartment, I replay everything. The questions. The answers. The lie. It wasn't classified. It wasn't catastrophic. It was perspective. Access. The kind that builds slowly. The kind that doesn't look like betrayal until you see the outcome. And I realize something that makes my chest tighten. I didn't give him information because he manipulated me. I gave it because I wanted him to see me as capable. Which might be worse. Because that means the erosion didn't start with him, it started with me. The lie doesn't feel like a lie at first. It feels like control. Like choosing silence instead of confession. Like sparing them unnecessary worry. That's what I tell myself when I don't mention the second meeting. Or the third. Because there is a third. And this time, it isn't in public. He doesn't text often. That's deliberate. When he does, it's minimal. You're overthinking it. That's all it says. No context. No greeting. And somehow he knows. I stare at the message longer than I should. Then, am I? The reply comes 10 minutes later. Yes, come by. No location. Just an address. Private. Not neutral. I should tell Sophia. That thought comes and goes like a flicker of lightning. I don't. That's the moment the lie becomes intentional. His building is quiet. High-rise. Discreet. Not flashy, but expensive in the way only restraint can be. He opens the door before I knock twice. You came, he says. You knew I would. Yes. He steps aside to let me in. The apartment is minimal. Clean lines, dark wood, soft lighting. Nothing personal visible, no photographs, no softness. Just control. I'm not staying long, I say automatically. He closes the door. We'll see. I bristle at that. You don't get to decide that. No, he agrees calmly. You do. The correction unsettles me more than dominance would have. I remain standing. So what is this? I ask. You, he says simply. Be specific. You came because you didn't like that I was right. About what? That you're already compartmentalizing. I'm not. You didn't tell them you were coming here. My pulse spikes. You don't know that. I do. How? Because if you had, you wouldn't be here? Silence presses between us. He isn't guessing, he's calculating. I'm allowed to make my own choices, I say. Yes. And this doesn't mean anything. It means exactly what it means, he replies. And what's that? That you wanted to be alone with me. The air thickens. I hate that the statement isn't wrong. You don't intimidate me, I say. I know. You don't destabilize me. He tilts his head slightly. That's untrue. The calm certainty makes heat climb my spine. You think this is seduction? I say. No, he replies. Seduction is manipulation through illusion. And this? Transparency. He steps closer. Not aggressively, not abruptly. Just enough that the space between us becomes charged. I told you what I wanted, he says quietly. Access. Yes. To what? To the part of you that isn't loyal. My breath catches. I am loyal. Yes, he says, but you're also curious. And that's a crime? No, he replies. It's a fracture. You want me fractured? I say. I want you honest. And if honesty costs me everything, then it was fragile to begin with. The cruelty of that statement burns. Because he believes it. And part of me fears he's right. I don't trust you, I say. You shouldn't. You don't respect boundaries. I respect clarity, he corrects. And what is clear? That you didn't come here to argue. My pulse is loud in my ears now. Then why did I come? He studies me slowly, to see if you'd feel it. Feel what? This. He closes the distance. Not touching, just close enough that I feel the heat of him, the steady rhythm of his breathing. It isn't rushed. It isn't desperate. It's inevitable. You can leave, he says quietly. I don't. That's the truth. He doesn't grab me, doesn't demand. He waits, like he always does. And I step closer. The first touch isn't dramatic. My hand on his jacket. Testing. He doesn't move. Doesn't reach for me. Just watches. You're not going to make this easy, I say softly. No. Why? Because if I do, you'll blame me later. The words hit. He isn't claiming innocence. He's refusing responsibility for my choice. I kiss him first. Not tentative, not reckless. Deliberate. His mouth is firm, controlled, answering but not taking over. No hunger. No desperation. Just heat held tightly in check. It's worse that way. His hand comes to my waist. Steady, grounding. Not possessive. Not soft. Present. You're shaking, he murmurs. I'm not afraid. I know. His mouth moves against mine again. Slower this time. Deeper. Every movement intentional. Measured. Like he's proving something. Not about desire. About control. I grip his jacket harder. He exhales softly against my mouth. You understand what this is, he says quietly. Yes. Say it. It's a choice. Whose? Mine. That seems to satisfy him. He kisses me again, and this time his restraint slips just slightly. Hand sliding higher along my back, fingers pressing into fabric, drawing me closer. I feel it. The shift. Not. Tenderness. Claim. When his mouth trails to my jaw, my throat, the slow, deliberate path makes my breath uneven. He doesn't rush. He doesn't rush anything. You'll lie about this, he says softly against my skin. My fingers tighten. Yes. And you won't regret it yet. No. And when you do, I pull him back up to me. I won't blame you. Something dark flickers in his eyes. Approval, heat, weight. Skin against skin. He had my clothes off before I even realize it. Mouth on my neck, hands gripping tight on my thigh and waist as he lifts me like I weigh nothing. His teeth graze my neck and he whispered in my ear, You made this choice. I froze for a second, but he bit my ear softly and the worlds went black. I couldn't think, just feel. Just react to what he was doing to me, and when he pressed into me, my breath caught. I come back to myself on his couch, his arm draped loosely around me. Not protective, not tender, just there. The room is quiet. No music, no distraction, just breathing. You feel different, he says. Different how? Less certain. I'm not uncertain. You're recalibrating. That word again. Everything is strategy to him. Do you regret it? He asks. No. That's honest. Yes. And you still think you're immune? I don't think that anymore. He nods slowly. Good. I sit up first. Distance returning like armor snapping back into place. This doesn't mean you get more, I say. I already have more. He replies calmly. What? Your silence. The truth of that lands heavier than the intimacy. You're arrogant. No, he says. I'm patient. When I leave his apartment, the night air feels colder than it should. My phone buzzes. Sophia. I hesitate. Then answer. Hey. Where are you? She asks quietly. Home. I say automatically. The lie doesn't even stutter this time. That's what scares me. Are you okay? Natalie's voice in the background. Yes, I say. Elena takes the phone. Claire. Yes? This ends badly. I know. A pause. Then why are you doing it? I close my eyes. Because he sees me. Because he doesn't pretend. Because I wanted to know what it would feel like to choose something dangerous on purpose. Because I can handle it, I say. And that's the biggest lie of all. I hang up, stand alone in the quiet of my apartment, replay everything. The kiss, the heat, the way he said you'll lie about this like it was inevitable. And I realize something that makes my chest tighten. He didn't manipulate me. He didn't trick me. He told me exactly what this was. And I walked into it anyway. Which means when this breaks, it won't be because I didn't know. It will be because I chose him knowing. It starts with a delay. Delays are normal. Shipments get rerouted. Meetings get rescheduled. Information travels slower than expected. But this delay feels different. Because it mirrors something I said. We're in Elena's office when the call comes in. She answers on speaker without thinking, pacing slowly near the window. Yes? A pause. Her expression shifts, sharpens. Repeat that. Sophia and I exchange a look. Natalie stops mid-sentence. What corridor? Elena asks. Another pause. Her jaw tightens. That wasn't public. Silence. And then, I understand. She ends the call slowly. No one speaks for 3 full seconds. Then Sophia does. What happened? Elena looks at me first. I noticed that. Then she answers. The secondary route was intercepted. My stomach drops. How? Natalie asks. It was adjusted yesterday, Elena says. Adjusted. The word echoes. Yesterday. My throat tightens. That route wasn't finalized, Sophia says carefully. No, Elena replies. It wasn't. The room feels smaller. Air thinner. Who had access? Natalie asks quietly. Elena doesn't answer right away. Her gaze shifts between us. We all know the answer. The core group. Inner circle. Which includes me. It could be coincidence. I say too quickly. 3 pairs of eyes turn toward me. Sophia's are the worst. Not accusing. Searching. That adjustment wasn't public, she says softly. I know. Then how did it get intercepted? Natalie whispers. No one says his name. But it hangs in the air. Heavy. It doesn't mean anything, I say, forcing steadiness into my voice. Routes get tested. Information leaks. Yes, Elena says calmly. But not like this. What are you implying? I snap. I'm not implying anything, she replies. I'm asking questions. Then ask them directly. She meets my eyes fully now. Did you discuss route logic with anyone outside this room? My pulse pounds. I think of the cafe, the apartment. The way I explained pattern adjustments without naming specific dates. It wasn't exact. It wasn't precise. It was perspective. That's different, isn't it? No, I say. The lie is smooth. That scares me. Sophia exhales slowly. Elena isn't accusing you, she says. I know. But you've been spending time with him. There it is, out loud. Yes, I admit. Natalie closes her eyes briefly. Elena, she murmurs. Elena doesn't look away from me. Spending time how? Talking, I say. And? That's it. That's another lie. Claire, Sophia says quietly. I don't look at her. Look at me. I do. You didn't think it mattered, she says softly. That's what this feels like. It doesn't, I insist. It might, she replies. The calm in her voice is worse than anger would be. We don't know it's him, Natalie says quickly. We don't know that. No, Elena agrees, we don't. But the timing. Could be coincidence. I cut in sharply. Elena's eyes narrow slightly. You're defending him, she says. I'm defending logic. You're defending your choice, Sophia corrects. The room goes silent again. The call comes back, and 20 minutes later, this time it's worse. The interception wasn't passive. It was deliberate, calculated. They didn't take the shipment. They rerouted it. And let us know. A message, a warning, or a demonstration. Natalie sinks into her chair. That's not random, she whispers. No, Elena says, it's not. Sophia looks at me again. Not accusatory, just waiting. And I realize something terrible. If I confess now, I might stop it from escalating. If I admit that I discussed pattern vulnerabilities, even vaguely, it changes the equation. But if I admit that, I admit I chose him, over discretion, over them, and I don't. It's escalation, Elena says finally. Strategic. From Marchesi's side? Natalie asks. Possibly. My heart pounds harder. Possibly, I echo. Yes, Elena replies calmly, because this is how he tests. The word slices. We need to tighten internal access, Sophia says. Elena nods. Agreed. Natalie looks between us. We're not suspecting each other, right? Silence. That's worse than accusation. No, Elena says finally. We're not. But her eyes flick to me again. Just for a second. That's enough. I leave early. Claim a headache. No one argues. That hurts? I don't go home. I go to him. That's the moment I cross from erosion to choice. He opens the door before I knock. You look unsettled, he says calmly. You did it. Did what? You adjusted the route. He studies me carefully. I adjusted many things today, he replies. You intercepted it. Yes. The admission is effortless. No denial, no pretense. You used what I told you. I used what you confirmed, he corrects. I didn't confirm anything. You confirmed the pattern. My breath catches. You said loyalty creates blind spots, he continues quietly. You demonstrated one. My chest tightens painfully. You did this to prove a point? I did this to shift leverage. At whose expense? I demand. Yours, he says calmly. Partially. You hurt them. I inconvenienced them. You destabilized us. Yes. And you don't care. He steps closer. I care very much, he says. About precision. You used me. I told you I would use access. You said honesty, and I was honest. The truth is brutal. He never lied. You could have left it alone, I say. You could have told me less. Silence crashes between us. The weight of that truth is suffocating. You're angry, he observes. Yes, good. Why is that good? Because now you understand cost. You hurt Elena, I say. I tested her, he corrects. You tested all of us. Yes. And what did you learn? That your system bends, he replies. But it doesn't break. You don't know that. I know you didn't confess. The words hit like a slap. You don't know that. I do. How? Because if you had, he says calmly, you wouldn't be here. The truth slices clean. You think this makes me loyal to you, I say. No, he replies. It makes you complicit. The word lands heavy. Complicit, not victim, not manipulated, complicit. I should walk away, I say. Yes. I don't move, he doesn't touch me, doesn't pull, doesn't claim, he waits. Like always. You don't get to feel guilty without accepting responsibility, he says quietly. I didn't mean for this to happen. That's irrelevant. The calmness in his voice makes my anger spike. You're a villain. Yes. And you're proud of it. No, he replies. I'm consistent. I leave without another word, because if I stay, I might admit something I'm not ready to face. When I return home, my phone is full of messages. Natalie, are you okay? Sophia, call me. Elena, we need to talk tomorrow. I stare at the screen. Then type, it wasn't him. The lie feels different now. Heavier. More deliberate. More final. Sophia calls immediately. Claire, she says softly. It wasn't him, I repeat. A pause. You're sure? She asks. I close my eyes. No, I whisper silently to myself. Yes, I say out loud. Another pause. That's all I needed, she replies. That's the moment it fractures. Not loudly, not dramatically, just subtly. Trust doesn't shatter. It thins. And I feel it, even as I cling to him harder. That night, alone in the dark, I replay everything. The cafe, the apartment, the route, the confrontation, the word complicit, and I realize something that makes my chest ache. The betrayal wasn't when I told him the pattern, it was when I chose not to tell them the truth. And I chose that twice. The fracture doesn't explode. It spreads. Quietly. Like a crack beneath glass that only becomes visible when the light hits it right. And now the light is hitting everything. Elena calls an emergency meeting. No softness. No brunch. No public setting to hide behind. Her office. Door closed. Phones face down. Sophia sits beside me. Natalie across. Elena stands. Another reroute, she says. My stomach drops. Where? I ask. Third corridor. That wasn't even discussed publicly. Only in here. Only with us. The room goes silent. No, Natalie whispers. Yes, Elena replies. Sophia's fingers tighten around the edge of the table. Elena, she says carefully, what are you saying? I'm saying, Elena answers calmly, that someone has perspective they shouldn't. The air shifts, heavy. Accusation without a name. Say it, I snap. Elena looks at me. I think you're underestimating the consequences of your proximity. You're not answering the question. I don't need to. Sophia turns to me slowly. Claire, she says softly, did you tell him anything else? The right answer is yes. The honest answer is yes. The answer I give is no. Natalie exhales in relief. Elena doesn't. Sophia doesn't either. Look at me, Sophia says. I do. If you're lying, she whispers, this is where it ends. My chest tightens. I'm not, I reply. That's the third betrayal. And this one tastes bitter. Elena's voice is steady, surgical. He's escalating because he can, she says. Because he believes he has leverage. He doesn't. I insist. Elena holds my gaze. He does. Silence falls again. Because we all know what that leverage is. Me. You need to stop seeing him, Natalie says gently. I laugh, sharp and hollow. That's your solution? Yes, she says. Just stop? Yes. Sophia's voice is softer. Claire, this is bigger than attraction. It's not attraction. I snap. What is it then? Elena asks. I don't answer. Because the truth is worse. It's pride. It's ego. It's wanting to prove I'm not fragile. And now, it's something else. Defiance. I'm not ending something because you're uncomfortable, I say. Natalie's eyes fill. This isn't about comfort. It's about control. I fire back. Elena is trying to protect us, Sophia says quietly. From what? I demand. From erosion, she replies. The word slices. He used that word. Not them. This is the moment I should have walked away. I didn't. So before I tell you what happened next, would you have stayed with the man who admitted he was using you, or gone back to the people you were already lying to? I leave before they can answer, before I can break. Because if I stay any longer, I might confess. And confession would end it. I'm not ready for that. I go to him. Again. Of course I do. He opens the door like he knew I was coming. You look cornered, he says calmly. They know, I reply. Know what? That something's wrong. They knew before you did, he says. I push past him into the apartment. You escalated again. Yes. Why? Because you hesitated. The answer stuns me. You're punishing me? I'm forcing clarity. At their expense? At yours. You admitted you used me, I say. Yes. And you did it again. Yes. The lack of denial is suffocating. Why would I stay? I demand. He steps closer. Because you want to. The words aren't spoken. They don't need to be. I could destroy you, I say. No, he replies calmly. You won't. You're arrogant. I'm observant. And what do you observe now? That you're angrier at them for cornering you than at me for using you. The truth is brutal. Because he's right. They don't understand, I whisper. They understand perfectly, he replies. They think I'm weak. No, he says. They think you're drifting. The word hits harder than betrayal. Drifting. Like I'm not anchored. You made me complicit, I say. You chose it. I didn't know. You did. The silence after that is devastating. Because I did. I knew. You don't love me, I say. He doesn't flinch. No. And you don't pretend to. No. And you still want me. Yes. The honesty is suffocating. Why? Because you're the only one who knows exactly what I am and stayed. My breath catches. You think that's flattering? No, he replies. It's rare. You hurt them, I say. Yes. You fractured something real. Yes. And you don't regret it. No. The air feels electric, dangerous, alive. Then why am I here? I whisper. He steps close enough that I feel the heat of him. Because you don't want safe, he says quietly. You want honest. I'm losing them. Yes. And you're not trying to stop it. No. My heart pounds violently. Say it, he murmurs. Say what? That you're choosing this. The word hangs heavy. Choosing. Not manipulated. Not seduced. Choosing. I'm choosing you, I say. The words burn. He studies me slowly. Even now? Yes. Even knowing I will do it again? My breath shakes. Yes. Something shifts in his eyes. Not softness, not tenderness, recognition. He kisses me then. Not gentle, not slow. Controlled hunger finally released. My back hits the wall. His hand at my waist. Firm, steady, claiming nothing, demanding nothing. But there's no illusion now. This isn't curiosity. This is surrender. You understand what this costs, he says against my mouth. Yes. You understand I won't protect you from it. Yes. And you're staying. Yes. The physical act begins. Heat, friction. Intensity sharpened by anger and clarity and irreversible choice. And then, aftercare, I lie against him, breath uneven, his hand resting against my spine. Not protective, not comforting, just present. You crossed a line tonight, he says quietly. I know. And you can't uncross it. I know. Do you regret it? I stare at the ceiling. Think of Sophia's eyes, Natalie's trembling voice, Elena's quiet accusation, and the way I walked out. No! I whisper. He nods once. Good. When I leave, my phone is silent. No messages. No calls. That's worse. Because silence isn't anger. It's distance. And I chose it. Standing alone in my apartment, I finally admit the truth I've been circling since the first night I saw him. He didn't steal me. He didn't manipulate me. He told me exactly what he was. And I stepped forward anyway. That's not betrayal by accident. That's betrayal by decision. And I made it. The final phase doesn't announce itself. It arrives disguised as silence. No more reroutes. No more intercepted shipments. No more subtle adjustments that make us question ourselves. For 3 days, everything runs clean, smooth, predictable. That should have scared me more. I'm in Sophia's apartment when it happens. She insisted we work from somewhere neutral. Just us, Natalie and Elena. No tension, no accusations. Let's reset, Natalie had said gently. Reset. Like we hadn't already cracked something open. We're halfway through revising contingency maps when Elena's phone buzzes. She glances at it once, then freezes. What? Sophia asks. Elena doesn't answer immediately. Her face goes pale, then cold. No, she says under her breath. Natalie leans forward. What? Elena slowly turns the phone so we can see. A press release. Public. Strategic alliance announcement. Marchesi Industries. And a partner name we recognize. One of our secondary allies. The same ally whose root vulnerabilities I discussed. My chest tightens. This isn't real, Natalie whispers. It's real, Elena says flatly. Sophia scrolls further down. Terms outlined. Asset shifts. Access permissions. All legal. All public. All devastating. He folded them, Elena says quietly. He didn't fold them, Sophia corrects. He absorbed them. The words hit like impact. Because I know how. I told him how they operated. I told him where they hesitated. I told him where loyalty blinded them. Natalie looks at me. Not accusing. Not yet. Just searching. Claire, she says softly, I can't breathe. It's strategic, Elena continues calmly. He weakened their confidence first, then offered stability. He used us, Natalie whispers. No, Sophia says. She looks at me fully now. He used her. The room tilts. I didn't give him specifics, I say. My voice sounds distant, foreign. I didn't, but you gave him perspective, Elena replies. Yes, and he weaponized it. Yes. The admission leaves my mouth before I can stop it. The silence that follows is unbearable. Natalie's eyes fill. You said it wasn't him. I close my eyes. I was wrong. No, Sophia says softly. You weren't wrong. You knew. The word lands like a verdict. You didn't think it would escalate. Elena finishes. You thought you could manage it. Yes. And now? Sophia asks. I look at the screen again. Marchesi's name. Clean. Public. Victorious. He didn't hide this one. He wanted it seen. He told me. I whisper. Told you what? Natalie asks. That he would do it again. Silence. You stayed, Sophia says. Yes. And you didn't warn us. No. I didn't. I thought I could contain it. That's arrogance, Elena says quietly. I know. That's betrayal, Sophia adds. The word slices clean. Betrayal. Not erosion. Not drift. Betrayal. Natalie stands abruptly. You chose him. Yes. The word leaves my mouth before I can soften it. Before I can justify it. Yes, I did. The silence that follows isn't loud. It's final. Sophia's voice is the calmest. When did you decide we were collateral? My throat closes. I didn't. You did, she says. You just didn't say it out loud. Elena folds her hands carefully on the table. This isn't about anger, she says. It's about trust. I nod. Because there's nothing else to do. You lied to my face, Sophia says quietly. Yes. You let us defend you. Yes. You watched us doubt ourselves. I swallow hard. Yes. Natalie shakes her head slowly. I kept saying Claire wouldn't do that. The pain in her voice is worse than Elena's anger. I didn't mean to hurt you, I whisper. That's irrelevant, Elena says. It's the same word he used. And suddenly, I understand. I sound like him. You're still seeing him, Sophia says. It's not a question. Yes. Elena exhales slowly. Then this isn't repairable. The finality in her voice hits harder than anything else. You're cutting me off? I ask. No, Sophia says softly. You cut yourself off. The truth is devastating. I leave without another word. Because there's nothing left to defend. Nothing left to soften, nothing left to pretend. I go to him. Of course I do. He's watching the press coverage when I walk in. Muted television. Financial analysts praising the move. Calculated. Clean. Ruthless. You escalated publicly, I say. Yes. You made it irreversible. Yes. You didn't tell me. He looks at me finally. I didn't need to. They know, I say. I assumed. They cut me off. He studies my face. And? The question slices. And what? I demand. Does that change your position? My pulse pounds violently. You absorbed them using my insight. Yes. You humiliated us. Yes. You proved your point. Yes. And I was never the exception. He steps closer. No, he says calmly. You were the access. The words burn. You said you wanted honesty, I whisper. I was honest. You never cared. I cared exactly as much as I told you I would. The brutal consistency is suffocating. You don't regret it, I say. No, not even losing me. He tilts his head slightly. You're still here. The truth lands hard. Because I am. I thought I mattered, I say. You did. Differently? Yes. How? You were willing. The word feels like a slap. I lost them. Yes. And you think that's strength? No, he replies. I think it's consequence. You never loved me. No. And you never pretended to. No. And I still chose you. Yes. Silence presses in. Heavy. Unforgiving. You said I wouldn't want to go back. I whisper. He nods once. You were right. I know. That confidence should infuriate me. Instead, it steadies something dark inside me. You never lied to me, I say. No, you just let me lie to myself. Yes. The clarity is devastating. But it's also freeing. Because now there's nothing left to pretend. He steps closer. Not soft, not apologetic, claiming nothing, but standing firm. "You're not fragile," he says quietly. "You're decisive. I betrayed them. Yes. And you respect that. I respect that you knew." The words settle heavy in my chest. "I can't go back," I say. "No, and you won't protect me. No, and this will get worse." "Yes, and I'm still here." "Yes." He kisses me then. Not tender, not victorious, just final. A seal on something already decided. Later, lying beside him in the dark, I stare at the ceiling. Think of Sophia's calm, Natalie's hurt, Elena's final tone, and the moment I said yes. I didn't fall. I stepped, and now there's no one left to blame. When I close my eyes, I understand the truth fully for the first time. He didn't destroy my friendships, I did. He just made sure the damage was visible. And that's what makes him dangerous. Not cruelty, not charm, clarity. The quiet after destruction is worse than the explosion. Explosions are loud. They demand reaction. They give you something to push against. Silence just settles. It's been 2 weeks since the alliance announcement. 2 weeks since Sophia stopped answering my messages. 2 weeks since Natalie blocked me. 2 weeks since Elena sent the final text. This isn't temporary. That one hurt the most. Not because it was cruel. Because it was calm. I don't try to fix it anymore. That's how I know it's real. The first few days, I typed messages I never sent. Apologies that sounded like excuses. Explanations that sounded like deflection. And every time, I deleted them. Because none of it would change the truth. I chose him. Knowing Leo doesn't pretend this is easy. He doesn't comfort me. He doesn't offer sympathy. He adjusts. That's his version of care. He makes space in his life without ceremony. A drawer cleared. A toothbrush placed beside his. A standing dinner reservation that assumes I'll attend. No promises. No declarations. Just permanence without sentiment. "You're quieter," he says one night, watching me from across the room. "I lost 3 people," I reply. "Yes." He doesn't say I'm sorry. He doesn't say it'll get better. He just acknowledges it like a structural shift. And somehow, that's worse. The first time I see them again is accidental. Or maybe inevitable. Charity luncheon. Public space. Controlled environment. I consider not going. Then I go anyway. Because hiding would imply regret. And I don't regret him. I regret the damage. That's different. Isn't it? They're together when I walk in. Sophia first. Composed, elegant, unreadable. Natalie beside her. Softer but steadier than I remember. Elena scanning the room like she always does. They look whole. That's what hurts. They adjusted without me. I'm the one unmoored. Sophia sees me first. Her expression doesn't change. No anger. No softness. Just awareness. Natalie follows her gaze. There's a flicker there. Grief. Then it hardens into distance. Elena nods once. Polite. Professional. That's worse than hostility. I don't approach. They don't either. That's how it ends. Not with screaming. Not with accusations. With space. Leo joins me halfway through the event. He doesn't touch me. Doesn't claim proximity. Just stands beside me like it's natural. "Do you want to leave?" he asks quietly. "No." "Good. That's it." No commentary, no pity. Just acceptance of the battlefield I chose. Later that night, I finally ask him the question I've been avoiding. "If I'd walked away, would you have stopped?" "No." The honesty doesn't surprise me. If I'd warned them, I would have adjusted. You always adjust. Yes, you don't lose. He studies me carefully. "I lose constantly," he says. "Then why does it never look like it?" "Because I don't attach to outcomes I can't control." The words land slowly. "You didn't attach to me." He shakes his head once. That's not accurate. Then what was I? He steps closer. Risk. The word should scare me. It doesn't. You never intended to protect me, I say. No. You never intended to choose me over strategy. No. And I knew that. Yes. And I stayed. Yes. He watches me carefully. Do you wish you hadn't? The question hangs between us. I think of Sophia's quiet strength, Natalie's unwavering loyalty, Elena's sharp, stabilizing presence. I think of laughter, inside jokes, shared glances. Then I think of the first night I saw him, the clarity in his eyes, the absence of illusion, the choice. No, I say, because I don't, and that's the most damning truth of all. Weeks pass. The alliance strengthens. Marchesi Industries expands. Leo moves with the same measured precision he always has. But there's a difference now. He brings me into rooms, not as leverage, not as bait, as presence. He doesn't introduce me with softness. He doesn't explain me. He simply lets it be known that I'm there. And no one questions it. Because they understand what it means. You're not hidden, I tell him one night. No, that's new. Yes. Why? Because you're not fragile. You keep saying that. Because it's true. There's no romance in it. No sweetness. Just acknowledgement. He doesn't protect me from consequence. He respects that I absorbed it. The loneliness still hits in waves. Random moments. A song. A restaurant. A memory that surfaces without permission. I don't cry. I don't reach out. I absorb it. That's what I've learned from him. You absorb the cost. You don't dramatize it. One evening, weeks later, I see Sophia alone at a gallery opening. For a split second, I consider walking away. I don't. I approach slowly. She sees me, doesn't retreat. Claire, she says evenly. Sophia, silence stretches. You look well, she says. So do you. Another pause. I'm not angry, she says quietly. I know. I'm disappointed. The word lands heavier than anger ever could. I know, I whisper. She studies me carefully. Was it worth it? The question isn't hostile. It's genuine. I don't answer immediately. Because I know what she's really asking. Was he worth us? I think of Leo's clarity, his refusal to lie, his brutal consistency, the way he never pretended to be safe. Yes, I say. The truth hurts both of us. Sophia nods once. Then stand in it, she replies, and walks away. That's the last time we speak. Not because we can't, because there's nothing left to resolve. I chose my side. They chose theirs. And sometimes love isn't the fracture. Choice is. That night, lying beside Leo, I traced the line of his jaw with my fingers. You don't forgive, I say softly. No. Not them. Not me. No. And you don't expect forgiveness. No. That's a lonely way to live. Yes. Why do you do it? Because forgiveness implies regret. And you don't regret. No. I study him in the dark. He's not a hero. He's not a savior. He's not misunderstood. He's exactly what he's always been. And I chose him. I don't get redemption. I don't get reconciliation. I don't get the comfort of believing I was manipulated. I get clarity. I get consequence. I get the man who told me exactly what he was and never pretended otherwise. And I stay. Not because I'm trapped. Not because I'm blind. Because I'm decisive. That's the truth that hurts the most. When I look back at the girl who stood in that ballroom and locked eyes with him, I don't see innocence. I see curiosity. I see pride. I see the moment I stepped forward, knowing there would be a cost. And I don't look away. Because I didn't fall. I chose. And this is what remains. This was the story where loyalty didn't win. where love wasn't soft, where I chose the man who never pretended to be safe. If this one stayed with you, if you felt that moment where choice mattered more than consequence, then you understand me. Thank you for listening, truly. The next story in 7 Friends Who Fell Too Fast is coming, and her choice might fracture everything in a different way. If my story pulled at you, stay with the series. Tell me in the comments, would you have walked away from Leo or stayed like I did? And let me know where you're listening from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. My friend Sophia's story is next.